Welcome everyone to one of the most exciting investment opportunities that is out there today. I don't think Kim or Julius and Leslie and Tanny are strangers to this group and our community. Sometimes some opportunities come that are more exciting than others. And those opportunities actually are amplified by collaboration. What you have here is Phoenix and Excite. And they have, forget the pawn, an exciting investment opportunity. I'm going to let them talk about this. Like I said, they're not strangers to us. So I'm going to let you guys kind of take this thing over and show us the excitement.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. I lost you guys for a second. Okay, I'm gonna jump right in.
Okay, go ahead. I'm not sure if. Okay, I keep getting muted.
Okay, perfect. Can I get a thumbs up if everybody can hear me? Perfect, great. Okay, welcome everyone to Grove Parkview investment presentation. Thank you so much for taking the time and deciding to spend this next about hour with us. We are really grateful for the opportunity. Feel free to ask any questions, toss questions in the chat or in the Q&A anytime, and then we'll answer it at the end. But before we found Grove Parkview, we reviewed over 2,300 apartment deals. We underwrote about 147 of them, and we were about 11 in best and final. And so there were a lot of deals that we kept getting. We kept hearing no, no, no. And then when we found Grove Parkview, we were so excited about it. The numbers made sense. And we call him Tenacious Tenny Tolafari. But when we were in best and final on this deal, he drove to Atlanta and he really met with the executive directors of the brokerage firm. And he said to plead our case, so to state our case that there were reasons why this needed to be ours. And we were so excited when we won the deal. And we really are just as excited to bring it to you guys today, our community. Grove Parkview is an institutional grade asset, and it's really tough to break into the circle, but we are excited to be there. We're excited to have a seat at the table and to bring this opportunity to you guys. So before I continue, I want to make sure that I state this disclaimer. I am an ER physician. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer or financial advisor, but I'm here to present this information to you. Feel free to review everything that I've said in addition to our subscription documents, the investment deck before you make that decision. So the question that might be on your minds today is, how did I get here today? And my story is unique to me, but probably not to a lot of people. And my story started off with COVID-19. Everyone here on this call, and even if you're listening to this recording, experienced COVID on some level. But for us in the ER, it was very eye-opening, and it really changed how we practiced medicine. You know, around this time, and even before this, but it became very glaring and very evident, was that private equity groups came in and they completely changed the playing field. You know, it started with our hours getting cut. So it was little by little where nobody saw it. So it was like maybe 5 hours here, 10 hours here. And before you know it, like some of us, half of our hours in a month were cut. And it looked like, you know, you were supposed to be showing up to work at 2 o'clock and you get a text at 1 o'clock and it would say, hey, don't come in till like 5 p.m. today because volume is just down and we don't need you. And that's how it started. And before you knew it, as this became more prevalent, you know, my colleagues who are, you know, high income earners, they were living paycheck to paycheck. And when they couldn't make those ends meet, they started getting 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and started like moonlighting and started doing, started picking up other jobs at other emergency rooms. And at that point, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But then it got worse. You know, in our group, we're a tight-knit group, and no one left, no one got fired. And in between a Wednesday night and a Thursday morning, 2 of our colleagues got fired. And I remember that like it was yesterday, but that taught me that I cannot rely on a single employer as my only source of income. And I started looking, not necessarily for a way out, just a way to diversify my wealth. And I started looking, I started reading. And by the way, I was already very diversified. At least I thought I was. I was in stocks, I was in real estate. Sorry, I was in stocks, I was in 401k, I was in insurance. And then I realized that I needed to bring real estate investing into my portfolio. And so I started looking, I started researching. And that's when I met Excite Capital. I met them at an AMPA event, and I just told them, I asked them questions and I grilled them. I said, tell me what makes you guys different. Tell me why this investment opportunity is different. Because that as physicians, we get every deal, we get sold, we get pitched all sorts of deals, like come invest in this, come invest in that. And we are we're very smart and we know medicine really well, but we really don't know a ton about investing and a ton about finances. And so sometimes we make really bad decisions. So before I was going to take a leap, before I was going to jump, I made sure I asked them, I grilled them, I said, what makes you guys different? And they taught me everything that I knew about multifamily investing. And they said, our goal is to create other Excite Capitals, other multifamily real estate investors, because this is part of the way to really preserve capital and to grow wealth. And so I jumped in. I was on the sidelines for a little bit because I was nervous, because I was like, this is a big investment. But I took a leap and I have never looked back. And I remember my first deal, my first investment as a limited partner. I remember that so well. And I remember getting, my first distribution. I was like, wow, I'm making more on this one investment than what was sitting in my savings account. And it was at that point that I knew that like I needed to learn more. I needed to jump in more. I needed to delve in more, because I knew that real estate was going to be the way that I would really preserve capital and grow wealth. And I figured it for myself, but it wasn't only for me. I started telling friends, colleagues, other investors about it. And that's really how, Phoenix was born today. So, and our AMPA slogan this year is better together. And we can go farther together than we can even think about going alone. And and I'm a true testament of that. A physician yesterday who got the link to this webinar today, texted yesterday and said, this is the partnership that we've been waiting for. We are so excited to see, us coming together, to grow wealth and to bring investors, to bring our community alongside with that. And so I cannot say enough amazing things about Excite Capital, made up of Dr. Julius Oni, Leslie Awasum, and Tenny Tolafari, and they're all on this call today, and we're so excited to be here. But their story is similar to mine and is similar to ours, and which is really to bring our community together, to grow wealth together. And they are truly trailblazers in the field, in the way they do business, in the way they have big plans for our community, how they want us to come alongside with everything they're doing. So to say that we're partnering together is just an excitement. It would be an understatement. And I can tell as a testament that, I started off as a limited partner, and then they became my mentors, we became friends, and now we are truly partnering together on this amazing institutional grade asset that not a lot of people have access to. And now, we know that our community has the resources, and now we're bringing that access to them. And that is very, very exciting. So, like I said, my story is not unique to me. In the last, few weeks, as we brought this deal to our community, I've spoken to a ton of investors, and this story happened. This really just happened this week, and it really resonated with me. So I was talking to a surgeon, I believe on Tuesday, and I just kind of shared with him my story. He had been to a webinar, and he called me, and his wife sitting next to him, they lamented how for the last 8 years, they have built wealth for others in the operating room. And they felt really that this was the way that they were taking it back and giving back. And within 48 hours, his wife called me back and said, we're investing in this deal. And this is the beginning of us starting to really grow wealth. And so we are beyond thrilled to add Grove Parkview to our investment portfolio. In a little over 5 years, Excite Capital has been able to acquire over $168 million in assets under management. And they have been able to go full cycle on a deal. And what that means for our investors is that they purchased it, they met their business plan, they increased the value of the property by 41%, and they returned an average annual return of 29.97 to the investors. And the initial projection was 18%, which is more than double that. And so that is examples of how, of the kind of people that we're working with and that we're partnering with and that we're bringing great assets to you guys. So let us jump into Grove Parkview. Grove Parkview is in Gwinnett County. It's 268 units. It was built in 1989. And it's just right outside of Atlanta. And it's slated to be one of the largest counties, if not the largest county in Atlanta, in the next 10 to 12 years. And it's zoned to one of the best schools in Georgia, which is Parkview High School. It's tons of economic drivers that just make that area really thriving and really growing. And we are excited to be purchasing in that area. But since I started this journey, I have been fortunate to be in rooms in amazing rooms where people who don't necessarily look like me are there, but they have tons of wealth, tons of capital. And then when they look at me and when they look at us, they think that all we're going to do is just bring a little bit of, bring our physician friends, our physician colleagues, bring capital and then give it to them. But that's changing now, and that has always kind of been our role. But this time around, it's different. We have decided to create our own table, and we are going to own Grove Parkview Apartment. And we're no longer just going to be on the sidelines. We're not sitting anymore, but we're really taking action, and we're bringing, this amazing opportunity to our investors. And it starts with that. We're claiming our spot, and that we're providing great opportunities for our investors. Like I told you before Grove Parkview, we invested, we reviewed over 2,000 deals, and we were meticulous about everything we do. And that's because we hold ourselves to such high standards because of the people that are in this room, in this webinar. We want to make sure that everything we bring to you is of quality, and that's the only thing we go after. So we look to bring very quality assets. We will do the work, we will find it, we will build the relationships with brokers, with sellers, and then Tenny will drive 4 hours or more, to make sure that we'll do what it takes to continue to stake our claim and to make sure that our community is taken care of so that we can bring these amazing assets to you guys. So Grove Parkview is 96% occupied for all those reasons I just told you about. And in the last about 8 years, it's remained above 94%. We plan to hold this deal for about 5 years, and we are projecting about a 15.5% to 18% average annual return, with a plan to increase your initial investment about 1.5 to 1.8 times. But one of the most amazing things about this is that we are getting a blended interest rate of 4.74%. We're assuming this interest rate from the previous sellers. And if you know what's going on in the market today with interest rates, you know that 4.7 is almost unheard of. And if you're buying residential, you're somewhere around 7.5 to 8%. And if you're looking into purchasing commercial real estate, your interest rate is going to be around 6.5, almost inching 6.8. And so to be able to get it at this rate is nothing short of spectacular, and we're excited about that. Our business plan, we plan to go in and we plan to do interior and exterior renovations. So we did due diligence on the property, and we figured out exactly what our tenants needed and what the property needed. Our goal in all of this is to make sure that our tenants have better living conditions, better spaces, while increasing returns for our investors. So we're going in, and for our exterior renovation, we plan to add a dog park. Almost everyone is a dog owner. I can attest to that. And so we know that this is something that, the community really needs. And it's also bringing in additional income into our property. We also heard that, the playground needs some renovation. So we're going to go in and we're going to revamp it. And also the pool amenities around it, we're going to go in and do that as well. We'll also work on roofs, window replacements as needed. But that is kind of our exterior renovation plan. And a big area of our business plan is our interior renovation. So this, multifamily real estate investment is like any other business. And our plan is to go in there and increase our net operating income. And the two factors in that is, your income coming in and expenses going out. So we want to go in and really manage the property really well with our property manager to decrease expenses and then increase our income. And we already have a proven mechanism of how to increase the value of the assets. And the previous sellers, they already started doing that. So they have gone in and they have really renovated. They've taken classic units from like what it looked like in 1989 to what it looks like, what it could look like in 2024. And they've had significant rent premiums already, about averaging about $200 and maybe $210. So we want to go in and do that exact same plan. And so we have proof of concept that it's already worked, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But it gets even better. And we didn't even factor this into our underwriting. But when we went there, I remember we looked at a studio, one of the studios, and then we walked into a 1-bedroom, and we realized, and we even confirmed it on paper, that the size difference between those two were not that significant. And there were about 13 of them, which were like really large studios compared to the 1-bedrooms. And so we are going in there, and I told you about 13 of them, we're going to go in and we're going to convert them from studios to 1-bedroom. And we're going to be able to generate more revenue on those. So those are the things that when we go, we're constantly looking at, how to make things better for our investors as well. So we have, in this deal, we have a 3-tiered equity structure. So, before we only had one, and now kind of based on what we think investors want and what we've heard from them, we have done 3 different equity structures. So the first one is your Class A investors. And those are the people who just want cash flow. They're saying, give me cash flow. I want to prioritize that. I don't want appreciation. I don't want the profit share. I just want 10% preferred return. And for those people, for the people here who don't know what preferred return is, it's when we get the cash flow on the property, it's the cash flow that you will receive before we as the operators receive any kind of return. So we want to make sure that you are getting your preferred return first. And so Class A investors, the minimum investment for that is $100,000. And then Class B investors, that is a 6% preferred return and then the profit share is 80-20. So 80% will go to the investors, and then 20% will come to us as the operators. The minimum investment for that is $50,000. And then Class C investors, these are for our large check investors or people who actually want to put money, put themselves together in a group and create an equity, and create an entity, and they can come together and invest, as one investment. And the minimum investment for that is $750,000. But we have a small limited equity amount for this. So if you're really thinking about this, talk to us, talk to me, talk to Excite before that opportunity fills up. So one of our investors asked this question, and she asked, what is the motivation behind the 80-20 splits? Like, how does that make sense for you guys? And the truth is that as an investor, as a limited partner, you're coming into this deal and you're putting in a significant amount of your capital. And so you should get a significant amount of returns. We structure this in such a way that you as the investor, 1, you're incentivized, and 2, you are protected. And so that looks like return metrics that we create. And that first return metric is at 6% preferred return for Class B and 7% for Class C. And after we hit that, then the split and the profit share is 80-20. Now we will get to another metric. And when we get to, our initial goal is a 15.5% average annual return. When we get to about 18% average annual return, which looks like a 16% internal rate of return, at that point, you would have almost doubled your initial investment. Then the profit share split changes, and that changes to 50-50. So our goal is that we work really hard so that you do really well in the deal. And when you do really well, then we will get compensated. And that's the same thing also for Class C, where the second hurdle is a 20% average annual return, which looks like an 18% IRR, where the split then switches to 50-50. And if anything I'm saying, if any of this doesn't make sense, feel free to toss questions in the chat, ask us questions. We will definitely be happy to answer it afterward. So this is an overview of how much equity is allocated in each class, with a chunk of the allocation in Class B, which is about 14.7 million. But I also wanted to touch on the capital stack a little bit. So after, our net operating income, debt is the first thing that we get paid out. And then after that, the Class A investors, those people who only wanted cash flow, that they get their returns first. And then after that, it's Class B, Class C, and then the operators get paid. So that is how we divide, and that's how we distribute our cash flow. I want to spend some time in the financial analysis. So I will say this. I don't always say this out loud, but I love to underwrite deals. I think there's this art and magic and science that comes with underwriting. And the more you underwrite, the more you understand and the more you learn, the more you keep doing property after property, you really understand how it works. And so I underwrote Grove Parkview, this investment opportunity, independent of Exide Capital, independent of our other partners, independent of our property manager. And we were still able to project above average returns based on based on how conservative our underwriting is. So if you look at this is T3 and it's annualized over over 12 months, you can see vacancy is at 2.7%. But we underwrote this deal with a vacancy of about 6%. And when we start renovations, that's actually going to go up to about 7.5%. And also, our bad debt in the last 3 months, annualized over 12 months, was 1.3%, but we almost doubled our bad debt and our delinquency. And even based on that, based on how conservative our underwriting is, we still are able to project above annual returns. But what that means with those two numbers are, in the last 3 months, annualized effective gross income in the property was about $5 million. And we projected even less at 4.8 million. And so those are some of the ways we really went in. We wanted to be very conservative with our underwriting, with the income that was coming in, and still able to project the returns that we said. Oh, and another thing I forgot, I wanted to tell you guys. So in the first year, when we take over this property, we projected rent growth of about 3%. But even in the last 3 months, the property was already doing 2.5% just in the last 3 months, which looks like about 8 to 10% over the last year. But we're going in saying that our rent growth is going to be 3%, but then our expenses are going to also grow at 3%, which almost negates it, which then looks like in year zero, we are not getting any organic rent growth. And all of it is coming from what we plan to do with forced appreciation and renovation. So this is important to talk about. And the cost of the property is about $49.1 million. And this is truly a very low risk asset. And that's because of the debt that we're purchasing. So we are purchasing, again, I talked about it and I'll keep talking about it because I think it's so great, is we're purchasing fixed rate at 4.7%. We're assuming that from the sellers. And based on that, we are really not highly leveraged on this deal. We're at 64% loan to value. We're bringing significant amount of equity into the deal. And if you think about like those of us who are buying or who have bought, sometimes our loan to value is like 80-20, sometimes 90-10. If anything at all happens to the market, you would struggle. And so we built in a ton of cushion into this deal. And that's what really makes it a really low risk and a great asset. So one of the things that we do in every deal, in every investment opportunity, whenever we underwrite, we stress the deal. So we look at best case scenario, we look at what it will look like if the market is doing fantastic. And we look at it if just like not worst case scenario, but like what it could be at not best case scenario. So one of the things that we take into account is cap rate. And cap rate is the rate of return that is expected to be generated on the property. And cap rate is very hyperlocal. So it's dependent on a lot of factors that is out of our control. So think inflation. Whenever interest rates goes up, cap rate also goes up. And when it falls, cap rate follows accordingly. So when we think about the price, so the value of the property, the two factors we take into account is net operating income and your cap rate. I told you already how we were going to go in and the factors that we're going to use to increase net operating income. But over the last few years, we have noticed that the market cap rate has significantly expanded. And if you think about it, cap rate is on the bottom. So a lot of prices have been dropping. But as you can tell with what's going on right now, interest rates are kind of staying steady and will start decreasing. So there's a ton of economic data sources that are saying interest rate is going to start dropping. And when it starts dropping, cap rate is going to follow suit. So CoStar, which is one of our nationwide data sources, we all look to CoStar to see what they're saying. They are saying that we are actually going to exit this at a cap rate of 4.6%. And if we do that, our exit price will be about $78 million, which is about an average annual return of 23.5 to 23.5%, which is fantastic. But we're saying we are going in and we're saying we're going to be conservative with our numbers and our projections. So we went in at a cap rate of 5.3 and we said we're going to exit at that same cap rate. We think it's going to stay flat. We think it's already expanded, but we think it's going to go down, but we're not going to project that because we want to make sure that based on our numbers, we still have above average returns for you guys. So based on the cap rate staying flat, the deal still looks fantastic. And that is another way that we go in, making sure that we're conservative and that the numbers still make sense for our investors. So a lot of our investors just wanted to see, what does it look like if we, give us sample summaries of what a deal could look like if we brought in $100,000 into the deal. And so we did that. So this is a sample Class A investor return. Remember, I told you that for Class A investors, you are not getting any profit share. You're just going in and getting your 10% preferred return. So that looks like investing $100,000, and then every year you're getting that 10%, 10%, 10%. You're going to get a return of your capital at time of sale, but you are not getting any of that profit share. And so that looks like putting in 100,000 and getting out 150,000. And that looks like a preferred return of 10% and an equity multiple of 1.5. So, and this is Class B. The minimum for Class B is 50,000, but 100,000 just for easy math, just to show what it looks like. So it's similar across all the different classes. So this looks like your 6% preferred return that you will get year on year. And then at time of sale, your return of capital is about $100,000. And then that profit share I talked about, which was the 80-20 split, would look like about $49,000 for your $100,000 investment. And that together comes up to about $177,000 at time of exit. So $100,000 investment, which you initially invested, and then at time of sale, it's about $177,000. That then translates to about a 15.5% average annual return, with an equity multiple of 1.78. And this is similar. This is almost the exact same thing, but for our Class C investors. So I love to talk about bonus depreciation because I now fully understand it. And I only really started understanding it when I became a passive investor. So one of the great things about multifamily investing is that when you invest, you will get cash flow and then you'll get appreciation, but you will also get significant tax benefits. And a lot of us who are on this call or are listening are high net worth investors or high income earners, and so we want to find ways to really, really take advantage of tax benefits. So it could look like this. You invested $100,000 in the property in Grove Parkview, and in year one, you got cash flow. And then at the end of the year, on your tax return, you're getting about $27,000 in paper losses. That is how powerful investing in an asset like this looks like. But then you're going to be asking, well, how is that possible? Tell me. So that is possible through something called bonus depreciation. So there was a law that was passed by President Trump saying that you can claim all your depreciation losses that the building gains over a period of time. You can access all of that in year one. And so every time that we buy assets like this, and we're doing it for Grove Parkview, we get a cost segregation expert to go, and they'll come and depreciate everything in the building except the land and the actual structure. And this can be done every time that we acquire a property. So in the past, you could claim that depreciation over 27 and a half years. But now with bonus depreciation, you can claim all of that in year one. But this law is kind of phasing out. So we are at 60% in 2024. That's why your $100,000 investment then looks like $27,000 in depreciation benefit. But this can be used on all your passive income. So cash flow coming from this property, if you're involved in any other passive income, in that you're getting a K1, all of these, the $27,000 benefit can apply to that. But it gets better. There's a law in Congress right now saying that this is such an amazing tax benefit and we want to bring it back. Now, it hasn't passed yet, but we are looking at it closely. We're following it closely. And as soon as we hear about it, we will definitely tell it to our investors, to our community. But so really, if that law passes again, your $27,000 can really look like $40,000. And what does all of that mean? That means that all the cash flow that you're getting from all of this property is tax-free. And that is really one of the benefits of investing in in multifamily real estate investing. So we talk about location, location, location. And in location, when we look for a property, we think about job growth, population growth, rent growth, and Gwinnett County fits this bill. I told you that, in the next, I think 12 years or so, it's going to be the largest county in Georgia. But even in addition to that, it has tons of a mix of employers. We always look for locations that that's not tied to one industry. So in Gwinnett County, you have healthcare, which is a big driver. You have Amazon distribution, you have EV car plant that's coming in, you have mixed use centers. So you have things that are bringing people in, things that are bringing jobs in. And that's what just really makes it a great submarket. So remember I told you that in the last quarter of operations on Grove Parkview, it was about 2.5% in just organic rent growth. And so looking over the year, that looks like about 8 to 10%. But in the years that we're going to be owning this asset, rent is projected to grow at about 15%. And that's what makes this market very, very desirable. And Grove Parkview is actually already outpacing this. We didn't underwrite for that. We were conservative. We kept it around 3 to 4%, knowing that it's probably going to far outpace that. So I've talked about this and how amazing this is. And this really speaks to the quality of, one, the submarket, and two, Grove Parkview. But one of our investors, she used to live in Nashville, and she was moving her whole family to Georgia, and picked Gwinnett County because of the school, because of Grove Parkview, because of Parkview High School. And Grove Parkview is one of the 2 apartment complexes that is zoned for Parkview High School. And really, Parkview High School is number 2 top school in all of Georgia. So, but also, like, it's just zoned for great schools all around. Their elementary school, their middle school, their high school are all fantastic. We are buying at a really affluent landscape, and the average rent at Grove Parkview is about $1,600 a month. And we make sure that all our tenants make about 3 times their income is about 3 times their rent on a yearly basis. And the median household income around Grove Parkview is $89,000 to $108,000 in a 1 to 5 mile radius. And also the average home value is around $410,000. So and we still have room to grow. We have significant room to grow, but we know that, the tenants around there, it's just an affluent demographic, which is where we're buying into, and we're really excited about that. So if you are in the area, if you are around Atlanta, you have family, tell them to go take a look at Grove Parkview, or go there yourself, secret shop the property, take a look at it, make sure that everything we're seeing matches, and go see it for yourself. But if you're not in the area, one of our investors went to Grove Parkview without telling us, and kind of just went because he wanted to get a feel for it and make sure that what we were saying is really actually what we were saying. And so we are so excited to be bringing great opportunities like this to our investment community. But he sent me this, and I asked him if I could share it with you guys, and he said absolutely. So he said, "We visited the Grove Parkview apartments. Highlights include: established in 1988, the current office complex is only about 3 years old. Monthly public activities for residents, swimming pool and gym around the office complex, and accessible to tenants with cards. It's strategically wooded with lots of shades for residents, studio to 3-bedroom options, very neat compound on a 5 acreage ground, office staff 7 with 75 years of experience, 75 service years, including the manager who has been there for over 20 years, and I met her, and more. Totally impressed with the customer service. No dull moments, definitely positive vibes. My wife and I are completely sold on this." And so when I read that, it just kind of made sense that what we're doing, the kind of assets that we're bringing to our investors, really speak quality. And he and his wife were able to experience that firsthand. So we truly have amazing partners that we're working with. And we have Chris Lento with EM Capital and Brad Kanjamila with Crest City Capital. They partner with us in our prior deals. And Chris is a multifamily investor in Boston. He has over 21 years of asset management, and he's playing a key role in managing this asset as soon as we take over and we acquire it. And Brad is a luxury developer, and he's also out of Boston, and he's partnered with us in our deals, and he's coming in with this one as well. So we really have a strong team who has significant years of experience coming with us on this deal. We are our asset management team used to be First Communities, but now Asset Living, and they manage over 285,000 units from coast to coast, and they have worked with us in our prior assets, and they're coming with us on this one. They were here from the beginning. I told you that they underwrote the deal in the beginning. They were with us at due diligence, and it was so amazing. You know, we were a large group split into teams. We looked at every single apartment. We made sure that what we underwrote is what we saw. We made sure that we didn't miss anything. Every rental contract was reviewed, and that just speaks to kind of the quality. But what's even better is the property management team on site. If you remember that the investor who sent that text message, you know, he talked about their service years, and they have over 75 years of service years experience at Grove Parkview, with the property manager having over 20. And I met her, and I could not say more amazing things about her. You know, she knows the asset. They live, breathe, dream Grove Parkview. They really are like hands and feet on site. They make sure tenants are happy, you know, requests are put in on time. They really, really look after the property like it's theirs. So we are very excited to be inheriting them in our acquisition. So as I wrap up, what do next steps look like? So we have an investor portal. You will get access to that. There's a QR code at the end. Go in, read the subscription documents, take a look at the deck, review this on this video, everything that we've talked about, sign the PPM, the subscription documents, and then transfer your funds, and then watch us do, you know, sit back, enjoy while we really take care of this asset for you. There are ways that you can invest. So you can invest with your, you can invest single, you can invest joint with your spouse, your partner, or you can invest as an LLC. And then options to invest, you can invest with cash, or you can invest with your 401k. So I just love talking to investors. So I was speaking to a physician investor 2 weekends ago, and she was telling me, you know, kind of how she started a business and she didn't have access to like liquid cash. But then as we were talking, I was like, oh, you know, you can use a self-directed IRA. So I told her that you can use, you know, you can convert your old 401k and then convert that to a self-directed IRA through a custodian, and we can help you with all of that and then invest. And she was like, wait, I didn't know that. So then as we were talking, she pulls up her old 401k and she's like, oh, I have money. And she's like, okay, let's do this. But what she didn't know is that we were talking about residency. And I was like, wait, Nkem, you have your old 401k from residency. And I was like, you never converted that into the new 401k. So I was like, wait, I have money sitting somewhere that I didn't even know about. So when we're done talking, I like went back to it. It took me a while to find it because I had forgotten that I had the 401k. And I looked at it and I was like, wait, so I'm already investing cash in this deal. But I was like, that 401k has been sitting there. It's maybe like 5% or something. And so imagine if I put it into this and it's making me like 15.5%. Like I was like so thrilled. The same custodian that I told her about, I called him and I was like, I have some money on the side that I want to, do self-directed IRA into this. So there are options for you to do this. Like if that's something that you're like thinking about, oh, you didn't even know it was an option, we would love to walk you. And it's a very seamless process. It's one introduction, one phone call, and they'll take care of everything for you. Okay, so what does the timeline look like? So the deadline to sign your subscription documents is August 20th, and then the funding deadline is August 21st, and our tentative closing date is August 28th. So this is a QR code that I was talking about. So if this is something that you are interested in, if you're ready to jump in, fill out the QR code, scan the QR code, go to the portal, just create a profile, and one of us will definitely reach out to you. We'll talk to you, we'll walk you through the whole process and make it as seamless and as easy as possible. So as I wrap up, what does this investment look like? So investing $100,000 in Grove Parkview looks like $15,500 in annual passive income that you will be getting, $27,000 in annual depreciation in year one, and it could be higher than that if that law passes. You will get monthly performance updates. So how the property is doing. When we start renovations, you will understand, income coming in, all the expenses going out. You'll get firsthand view on really how we are managing this asset. You get quarterly distributions as soon as we start distributing funds. But even though more things is that you'll get exclusive access to the community. So you'll know, every deal that we're looking into, every deal, for best and final, you'll find out about it. If as soon as we get, our next investment opportunity, you will be the first to get access to it. And that I think is really, really amazing. And like I said, all our future deals, you definitely get access to it. But more than that, this will be your start to really, passive income generation and building wealth. And you will become co-owner in this institutional grade asset that is called Grove Parkview, that a lot of us don't have access to, but now we're bringing it to you guys. So I just wanted to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for the time, for the time that you have taken this afternoon to come here and, just go through this opportunity with us. At this time, I want to bring up Dr. Julius Oni, CEO of Excite Capital, to say a few words as we wrap up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic presentation, Dr. Eziamama. And we want to just say thank you to everyone who's on the call right now. We really, really, truly appreciate you. And yeah, I mean, the deal speaks for itself. It's my dream has always been to be able to bring this type of institutional asset to our community of investors. And as you were presenting there, Dr. Eziamama, I was beaming with pride, like I usually am every time you speak, and I just I feel like even regardless of what's happened, we've achieved some of our goals already at Excite Capital in seeing Phoenix Capital do what it's doing right now, but we just be really beginning, to be honest with you. My dream is when all of us on this call and others can join hands together and really take down billions and billions of properties. And we too can start creating conglomerates like the Jewish folks have done well, like the Indian folks have done well with hotels, Jewish folks with multifamily real estate, and other immigrant groups. It's about time for Nigerians to step beyond just individual incredible accomplishments and start building some incredible things together. So we are just at the beginning of it, but I am very confident that 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, some stories will be told of a group of Nigerians, a group of immigrants, a group of Black people that came together and started to buy significant multifamily real estate. And now together they own, billions and billions of real estate. Besides the power that we already, command with just our sheer accomplishments, when people talk about the number of Nigerians, Africans, or immigrants, Black immigrants in professional schools, in medical schools, in dental schools, in law schools, and things like that. I think the next stories they're going to start talking about is, the businesses, the collaborations that we all came together to do, and the economic power that we garner, so that when we call our mayors, our governors, our House of Reps, our senators, they pick up. That's where we are going. But this is just the beginning. But there's no better property to start with if you've never joined us on one of this. And for those of you that have joined us in some of these journeys, you will continue to still grow your wealth. But this is also a great opportunity to continue to grow your wealth even further with this incredible property. I'll end with this. This property is perhaps the best property we've ever brought to market. I am very sure of it. If I had $22 million to put in it, I would have, except the fact that I do have the spirit of abundance, and I still would want to share with my people. So, but if there's a property to start with, or to definitely go on, even if you've done others before with us, this is the one. So I will open the floor now to questions, and I look forward to having a robust discussion about this. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Leslie, do you have the questions up? Do you want to, are there any questions? You're muted.
Okay, it looks like we have some questions. One question here. What time span do you plan to do the bonus appreciation over 1, 5 year or to be determined?
Bonus depreciation
Yeah.
is what I meant.
So I believe the bonus depreciation, you could claim it all year one. It's calculated over 27 years, but you could claim it all year one. And if you end up not using 100% of that bonus depreciation in the first year, it doesn't go away. You can still use it on the subsequent years. So that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, that's the bonus depreciation that comes from cost segregation is one of the most beautiful things about investing in real estate, particularly multifamily real estate. You know, my wife and I, as a unit, are now considered a rep status. You know, and that happened a few years ago, and I mean, from the depreciation that I had accumulated from multiple real estate investments like this, we were actually able to write off a significant portion of my W-2 tax.
Looks like
so it's powerful. My bonus was like that nice little big 6-figure check I got back when when I filed my fee. If you're just a passive investor, you can only use it to offset your passive income. So income from any passive investments like this one, like any investments you have in a business that you're not actively involved in, those can all be written off with this type of bonus depreciation. But once you start to get involved in this, and especially if you have a wife that's not fully it's not a doctor who is making a high salary or anything like that, where they could also maybe achieve some rep status through doing the 750 material hours. And don't worry about it if you don't know the details of this. This is part of the Excite Capital or Excite Community and Phoenix Community benefits, is that once you hang out with us long enough, you would know all about all of these things and how to ultimately be able to really take advantage of the tax benefits that real estate does provide to us.
Let me chime in here, because I know, Julius, you were straining in modesty just regarding the bonus depreciation. Let me actually inject this component to this transaction. For those of you who may be contemplating this, forget the bonus depreciation. What you have to determine for yourself is whether or not this is a good investment. Listen, guys, forgive me, okay? This is a damn good investment. Forgive my French, okay? I can tell you that I see these things. Okay, 37 years doing this. Real estate is part of the allocation that we, as a matter of fact, I am showing this to a few of my clients. Okay, this is a good investment. Forget the bonus depreciation, once you get it. The question you have to answer is this a good investment? And I can tell you that it has passed my own Inspector 12. So, bonus depreciation or not, you've got to evaluate these investment opportunities on their strength. You've got the credible folk who are truly committed to being secondary. Let me tell you something that actually strikes me about this. It's the forward-looking pronunciation. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Julius is pronouncing $1 billion in transactions in this community. I am in. It's $1 billion walk. okay? You've got to really understand what this means. And that's the reality of it. This is a damn good transaction. That's one. The second thing is this. We talk about self-directed IRAs. I don't know how many people may listen to this. Yes, you have the 401k that you can make a self-directed IRA. Or your IRA and stuff like that you can convert to self-directed IRAs. One of the things you can also do, if you're over 59 and a half and you're still employed, you can reposition some of your 401k assets, my friends, okay, in what's called an in-service distribution. You can take an in-service distribution if you're over 59 and a half, and you can reposition those assets into an IRA and then a self-directed IRA, which would allow you to begin to own these kinds of tangible assets. And yes, these things get facilitated very easily. We've got relationships and things like that with custodians that, custody self-directed assets and things like that. And so I would say to you, if you're over 59 and a half, this makes a lot of sense. And I would say one more thing, my friends. Owning real estate needs to be a part of your asset allocation. Institutions own real estate as part of their asset allocation. This journey here begins that for everyone that is interested and has basically the assets to begin to participate. We're making the presumption that everyone here is an accredited investor. So please join in. If you have questions about how to participate using your retirement accounts, and Kim talked about it, we can stand in the background and serve as a resource to facilitate those things. We've got those custodial relationships and stuff like that. So, let's go to $1 billion. I'm in on $1 billion, guys. Seriously.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I have another comment from Isaac in the Q&A. He said, I'm outside the US and a real estate investor in the UK with about 10 properties in our portfolio. I'm not used to US investment. I'm interested in knowing more about this investment. Can I have a recording of this presentation to carefully study? And is there anyone to contact after?
Yes. You could definitely get a recording, and we will put our contact information in the chat so that you can, and we will absolutely get a hold of you. So one of us will be in touch because you sent us your email address and your phone number. So we will definitely be in touch, but you will get the recording. Yes.
And just to add to that, Isaac, we've had multiple other investors based in Nigeria, UK, Europe as well, that have been wanting to get into US real estate. So we've created a path that you should be able to do it, especially you from the UK. The Excite Capital side has created Excite UK, which should be finalized in the weeks ahead. And you could come into that entity and invest in the US, and we could talk more about the tax implications, the benefits, and all of that. But we definitely build that path because a lot of our community is outside of the US, but we want them to have access to these assets as well. So we'll reach out to you, Isaac. All right, guys. Any other questions? Please drop your questions in the chat.
Awesome.
All right. I'm not seeing any other questions coming in.
I guess everybody understood it.
Yeah, but just some typical questions that typically come up, Dr. Nkem, is like, are there, or Dr. Nkem or Dr. Oni, like, are there any guarantees with this kind of investment?
That is a great question. So there are no guarantees, but we go in and we have showed you every reason why we feel very strongly that this is a great investment. We have showed you how conservative we've been with the underwriting. We showed you how we're going to go in and, increase income, decrease expenses. So we have taken every step, even with the type of loan that we're inheriting, the fixed debt, so all of those things make it a very low risk investment opportunity that we're going in. But with everything, nothing is guaranteed. This is a risk, but you being here today is the first step in doing your due diligence and asking the right questions and learning so that you can make a decision and a better decision. So I don't know if any of my fellow partners would disagree, but nothing is guaranteed.
I would just add that without calculated risk, there's no reward. And the only guarantee that we can give is that we will do everything in our God honest best to make sure that this is a worthwhile investment for you. That it's a low risk investment for you. That it's an investment that helps you to generate wealth long term. And that it's an investment that starts you on that journey of achieving the dream of your future.
All right, Ndidi asks, for those of us under 59, are we able to use our self-directed IRA or other accounts?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You can use.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Nkem, go ahead.
So, Ndidi, I was just going to say that, yes, you can use a self-directed IRA. So if you have any old 401ks, or even if you're a business owner and you have a SEP IRA, you can convert any of those to a self-directed IRA. And with a self-directed IRA, you can invest in any private security of your choice. So we will say, you know, like Amy said, we have custodians that we work with that will just help you make that process very seamless.
Another thing you can do if you want to do this in a deferred corpus and you're under 59 and a half, most of these 401ks that you participate in would allow you to borrow. You could borrow from the 401k, and usually it's up to $50,000. Now, when I say borrow, you're going to have to pay back into your 401k the money you borrow. So this would give you, one, a lump sum amount that you could, you know, you got $50,000 that you can borrow right away and put it into this as a loan. But now you got to pay the $50,000 back through your own income stream into the 401k. So that's one of the ways that people also kind of reposition assets if you're not 59 and a half or older. I hope that's answering your question also. So if you and your wife have monies that are over $50,000 in your 401ks and so you're still working, you're under 59 and a half, you got $100,000 that you can borrow and just pay the money back into the plan. You know, they're going to charge you maybe 9% at this point is kind of where we're seeing those borrowing rates. But if you're dumping the money back there as aggressively as you can, then you're basically accomplishing the same thing. We always advise with some of these alternative investments that you actually seriously look at Roth IRAs as the better ways to do this if you can. So that's something to actually think about. Nothing wrong with using tax deferred, but consider Roth IRAs if you can, because if you're getting that growth, you've already paid the tax on the seed. And so your money grows tax-free.
And question again, when will the recording be available, please?
ASAP.
And just to add, think about who else you know that could benefit from investing in this kind of assets. Some of the things that we're seeing, which we highly encourage, is like people are banding into groups and coming in as a single entity to invest. And by doing that, you're able to capture the Class C reserve class where you get higher returns from the deal, and you actually do well long term. So if you're part of a group, you have a group that you're thinking about that you guys can band together and invest, come take a piece of that Class C equity. Right now, we get a lot of our American partners that are jumping in and trying to fill that up. So we want members of our community to be able to capitalize on that, you know, to be able to capture that. So that's one of the reasons why we created that investment class. So please take advantage of it. Yeah, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have. All right.
Any other questions?
No, I don't see any other questions coming through.
Okay. Listen, I could not be more excited. This is so crazy because it's exciting, you know, it's like a fun. Okay, Giwa has a question.
Yeah,
Dr. Giwa has a question.
You can speak if you.
Is he able to speak? Can you make him able to speak?
Can you make him able to speak, please?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to go out and give me 1 second. Okay, allow. Okay, let's see. Allow to talk. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, so I had a question. I think it got lost in the shuffle. My question was about the self-directed IRAs. If they are used, where do the distributions go? They go back into the IRA where we can't touch until retirement, or
Yes.
does it go into my bank?
Yes.
Dang. Okay.
You're so smart. You answered your own question.
I was just hoping, but I guess nice little nest egg. All right.
Is that Johns Hopkins, brain,
Wishful thinking. And that's really wishful to get your money out of your retirement early. Okay.
They won't let you get it out that easy, man,
Yeah.
And Ayo says thank you, Excite and Phoenix for stimulating presentation. Thanks to all the attendees.
Yeah.
Thank you,
On
guys.
behalf of Ayo, myself, Cliff, who basically have the responsibility for orchestrating these sessions. And I can say this to everyone that on a go-forward basis would take the time to get involved in these things. We have committed to a rigorous process to make sure that we bring to you well-vetted opportunities. If you know anything about me, you would kind of have an understanding that my own credibility is on the line when I start making the proclamations I just made, for example. And so we appreciate it. We take the time to discuss these things, and credibility is everything. This is one group, and you guys chose the name, and it just injects itself into everything we do and say. I could not be more excited about where this collaboration of Nkem and Phoenix and Excite, I could not be more excited about it. Not just for you guys, but for all of us as a community. The credibility that you bring, the things that you have proven in execution, the vision that you have. And I could not be more appreciative of your vision to get to that billion, because it is done. See, we belong there.
Yes.
Okay. We belong there. We're not talking about stuff that the people who have done it don't have two heads, they don't have two anything. And I am in on the journey to $1 billion. Everybody that has any means that's accredited, and even if you're not accredited, there are ways to have real estate in your investment portfolio. Real estate is absolutely an imperative if you're going to have a properly diversified portfolio. This is one of the best ways to do it. This is like owning stocks, because you're possibly investing, and you're leaving it to a team that has now developed a professional element in this. So it's like allocating money to stocks and bonds and things like that, and having the managers manage this. Real estate is an imperative in every portfolio, my friends. I say that. So again, thank you very much. I really would like this to be ongoing, where these real estate opportunities, as they come, we present them to this group and other groups, by the way. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Ayo, I don't know if you're still on. If you have anything to add. Cliff could not make it because he had another commitment. He had a conflict. But thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Makinde, Dr. Adisa, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. I don't really have too much to say. Thank you. Thank you for a good presentation. Good to see the whole team here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Stay blessed.
Well done, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.